Reneau today, giving up their schedule to come and hear our candidates. I also want to thank each of the candidates for taking time out of their schedule. I'm sure you're getting busier and busier. So thank you for being here, and I want to acknowledge the Peoria Public Library, who has generously made this space available to us. Our moderator today is Irene Pritzker. Irene is a late member, a longtime late member, and a very experienced forum moderator. And she's going to explain how we will, the rules of the forum, and ask questions to the candidates. Thank you.
I'm not sure how this comes up.
So we just checked them. They were on and all primed.
Okay, can handle. That sounds like it's on. That sounds on. Okay. I could also use my teacher voice, but this will, since we're live streaming this, I'll go with the microphone. As Connie said, the League of Women Voters of Greater Peoria welcomes you to this candidate forum. We're going to be hearing from candidates running for election for our Peoria County Board from districts 8, 9, and 10. The League is a nonpartisan organization. We endorse no candidates nor favor any political party. The League's purpose is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. Providing this forum allows citizens to become better informed about issues facing their community and to become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. We're happy to provide this service to the community. The League of Women Voters is not responsible for verifying the accuracy of the statements that the candidates make. These are the candidates' statements. The League does take position on issues after an in-depth study. Certainly, once a specific position is taken, it may appear partisan to some because they don't necessarily agree with the position taken. But again, the League never takes positions on nor endorses candidates. The League is a membership organization, so we're only as strong as our members. If you are not a member, I hope you will consider joining us, and the folks greeting you as you came in this morning will be happy to share membership information with you. We hope you'll come away from this forum with more knowledge about these candidates and their positions. Providing voter education is a major part of what the League provides since its inception right after the 19th Amendment was adopted. You can view this forum and others by going to the YouTube channel for the League of Women Voters of Greater Peoria. And you'll also be able to get more information after, I believe, September 25th for the Illinois Voter Guide, IllinoisVoterGuide.org, no spaces. Okay. All right, we have a few rules, and prior to the start of the forum, the candidates have drawn order for two from each district will go first. We decided, since there are 3 districts, that we kept the districts in order and then drew straws for who would be the first speaker from that district. Then we will we'll just hand the microphone down. So we're going to be starting at the end with District 8, Nate Hoerr, sorry, followed by Kanika Jones, who are running for the 8th district, then Sally Owens and Danny Phelan, who are running from the 9th district, Luke Hoerr and Rob Reneau, who are running in the 10th district. Then they will start with introductions. Then when we go to the questions, rather than Nate starting, Kanika will be the first one to speak, and then hand the microphone down. Okay, just a few short ground rules. Please make sure your cell phones are off. I still remember the one where Joanne Thomas, if you know who she is, was moderating, told everyone to turn off their cell phones. And before very long, her cell phone rang. So, okay. Please do not applaud, because that takes away from the time that the candidates can answer questions. They will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, and they will have 1.5 minutes to answer each question. We will rotate the answers, as I said, we will be rotating them. And then at the end, each candidate will have 1.5 minutes for closing statements. We have timers right here in the front row, if you could hold up the paddles, and they will let the candidates know when they're down to 1 minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds to finish their speaking. For the audience, we do have some question collectors. Who's collecting? I think Sherry, you're a collector. Waving her hand if you need to.
Is there something else I can help with?
Sorry about that. I'm very serious. Okay. I haven't had that before. All right. And they'll collect your written questions. We don't take oral questions. We only take written ones. And I already have some that you have already written. I have some that have been written by some of our members who are very knowledgeable about the county board and what they do. If you write a question, we may not have time to get to it. It may fit in with some other questions that we already will be asking or have asked. So please, just listen for the answers, listen for the questions, and listen for the answers, because you may not need, you may not hear it exactly as you wrote it, but it still may answer your question. So if you do have questions, raise your hand. Sherry will get you a card to write your question on, and will give it to me. Okay. If you candidates need a question repeated, feel free to ask. Not an issue, okay? Excuse me. So let's go ahead and get started with our introductions. You have 2 minutes.
All right. Well, I'm Nathan Hoerr. I go by Nate for District 8. I believe I bring a fresh perspective to the county board. I'm very pro-family. I'm very pro-business. I'm a great collaborator, and I can give, I think, good creative solutions to the issues facing the county board. I live on Route 91, right across from Grace Church, and I live there with my wife, Suzanne. We are or have raised 6 kids, ranging from 15 up to 28. And I was born and raised right here. I went to Richwoods High School, and then graduated and went to the University of Illinois. Graduated there with a degree in computer science and math, but actually was going to pursue a flying career. And then my dad called and said, come home and help in the family nursery business. So that's what I did, and I worked alongside him until I bought the business with my cousins in the year 2000. And so that's what I do now. I run Hoerr Nursery as the president and CEO. And in my spare time, I still fly and I teach flying. And just as an aside, I do not like yard work. So even though I am a landscaper, my wife is the one who does the yard work. So I'm excited for the opportunity to serve on the county board. I think I bring a fresh vision for what the county might be. There's lots of opportunities out there that we haven't explored, and there's just like a clean slate, since this is a brand new district, that we can accomplish great things. So I think that we can be a great place, Peoria County, perhaps one of the best in downstate Illinois. So I ask for your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
And Kanika?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kanika Jones. I'm originally born in Peoria, moved around a lot and returned in 2004. I'm a mother of 2 children, one who is currently in District 150. She goes to Richwoods. My son is in the U.S. Air Force, and he's stationed in Germany. I'm a small business owner. We're a minority electrical contractors business here. We are a union. I also am very active in the community. I've worked for several years behind the scenes at a nonprofit that supports education and promotion of self-efficiency, trying to help our community become productive and give back. Coming into the county board, I hope to bring a different perspective. The county board seems to run very effective right now, but there's always places where you can improve, and there's always areas that need a different vision. And so I hope to be that person who can say, this time, how about we try this, because we need to include everybody in the county and not just one area. So I'm really focused on the collaboration, and I'm really focused on making the community a better place and making sure that the people that are participating, their voices heard, and the issues that need to be addressed, we are addressing. Ideally, I would like to get out and speak to the constituents of District 8 to see where their concerns lie, and not just what I think the concern should be because I live there. I might decide that I want something done, and it's not about me. It's about the constituents that I will serve in that district. So I'm looking forward to meeting everyone as much as I can and working hard to serve District 8.
Sally Owens, District 9.
Good morning, and thank you all for spending your Saturday morning here. That's really valued time. And also thank you to the League of Women Voters for organizing all this. I've organized lots of events, and I know it doesn't always go exactly as you'd planned and takes some time to get there. So thank you all for donating your time and helping us educate ourselves. I'm Sally Owens. I'm running for Peoria County Board in the 9th District. I have lived, worked, volunteered, raised my family in the Peoria community for the last 23 years. I have 35 years of experience in small businesses and 9 years in large business healthcare with OSF. During my life of work and service, I've also served on a number of boards. This would be the first time I've ever run for an elected position, but I have worked with boards that were government involved, including ICC Foundation and the United States Post Office. So I do have experience working in government-related boards. My experience also runs with the small businesses in management and leadership, and I think I have exactly the right skills in business and in healthcare and in the prison system to be a very good leader on the board and offer some great ideas and solutions to improve the way we're running our county.
Hi, my name is Danny Phelan. I'm a candidate for Peoria County Board District 9. I would also like to echo Sally's gratitude for everyone that came out today and is spending their Saturday here in the league for hosting this event. I'm born and raised in Peoria County. I spent part of my childhood in Peoria Heights, which actually is in District 9. So because of that, I have deep ties. Both my father and grandfather served on the board, so politics is no foreign concept to me. Where most people and most families around the dinner table were talking about what they were going to be up to on the weekend or the weather, we were talking politics. From a very young age, I came to understand how important public service is. I became pretty involved at a young age. My father ran some restaurants, so I was in the customer service industry for quite a bit. I then moved to Farmington area, so I took a little bit of time off from public service and working and became really involved in learning about the environment. Became an environmentalist, self-guided, self-taught, and moved back to the Peoria area. Lived in Peoria for a large part of time and started working at AMT, which is a public service entity, public safety entity, ambulance service provider. I've worked in operations for a number of years. I oversee operations for them and work in fleet and logistics. I also oversee a little over $1 million budget for them, and I believe that my experience and work and the experience provided to me by my friends of all walks of life and different demographics will help me be fit for this position.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, my name is Luke Hoerr. I also want to continue the train of gratitude for the League of Women Voters and for everybody here today. Like many of you, we all have a very personal interest in the community. I grew up in Peoria County. I live in Rolling Acres, and I don't plan on moving from Peoria County anytime soon. As many of you know, the Hoerr name has very deep roots here, and I feel like there's some personal commitment to that. I've always wanted to serve as many people as I can, and I do that by my vocation in insurance. I call small business owners every day, so I get to hear the complaints, the struggles that they face every day, and with the effects of COVID, we've seen small businesses have that struggle. So part of my commitment to Peoria County Board is helping small business. I also have a financial background, so I feel that with that background, I'm able to have a skill set that can be very useful on the county board, and that's kind of the reason that I'm running. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it on here.
I'm going to stand up so I can see everybody. My name is Rob Reneau. I'm running for re-election for District 10. A lot has changed in the last 4 years since I was here last. I successfully won my election. I am the chairperson of the County Operations Committee, so I oversee the committee that handles labor contracts, many different areas of county business. I'm on the Public Safety Committee, the Finance Committee, the Executive Committee, the Health Committee. So I've been on so many committees that it's allowed me to see a lot of how the inner operations of the government works. So I've taken full advantage of that. I still am learning every day after being on the board for just 4 years. But I've also been able to see a lot of progress that we've made. Just in my district, we've been able to overlay Lake Street, which I know a lot of people who live around Lake and how horrible that was. We didn't have the budget to actually rebuild it like we're rebuilding Glen. Glen is also in my district. Well, once that construction is done, it'll be handed over to the city. And in the future, we're going to be able to redo the county portion of Sheridan. So those are all things that infrastructure is big and what people are concerned about. I was also instrumental in developing a partnership with the Center for Prevention of Abuse for a county ombudsman. An ombudsman is essentially a senior advocate who can advocate for our county seniors who are in long-term health care facilities. So that's important for not only the residents, but also their families to have some security there. Some things that haven't changed, I'm still employed with the state police as a forensic scientist. It's been 26 years now. And my sons, that's changed a lot. They were 9 4 years ago, now they're 15, and we're learning how to drive, 2 of them at the same time. So again, I still have a lot to give to the county, and I look forward to your questions.
Okay, if we can get this down to Kanika. We'll start. Okay, first question for the candidates. The primary work of the county board is conducted in committees and approved by the entire board. Which committees would you be most interested in?
The committees that I would most focus in would be, of course, the racial injustice, anything that falls within that committee. I graduated from Mid-State with a BA in Law and Social Justice, and I've always worked in the community to focus on issues that may affect or disparage a different population. So I definitely would focus on those committees. The Way and Means committees is another one I'm interested in, and also the committee that focuses on mental health and health, like the health department area. Very important that we address mental health issues in our community. It's not focused on enough. There are not enough resources out there for mental health intervention and mental health access. As we closed down Zeller many, many years ago, our mental health patients were kind of just discarded. And so now we have law enforcement that has to take charge and figure out if it's a true criminal or is it a mental health case. And I think that's outside of what they are specializing in. So I would really like to focus on the committees so that we can get more mental health care out there.
Okay, Sally, no, it's down to Sally.
Okay, thank you. My education is in business. I have my undergraduate in business and accounting and my master's in business and healthcare. So my focus will be in our health department, and I also have 2 years in correctional healthcare. So I have locked out of most of our jails and prisons in Illinois, in Wisconsin, and Georgia, on the right side doing work. So I'm very familiar with some of the issues that our correction facility has to deal with. So I'm interested in participating in those two specifically, but having my accounting degree as well as working for a company that provided tax services, I feel like I can make a large contribution to our finance committee. So those would be the 3 areas I want to focus on. And I think I bring the most value and experience in those areas.
I have 3 committees that I have my eyes on, Ways and Means, Health, and Finance Committee. I believe that my daytime job has really accelerated my learning and provided me the opportunity to understand why it's important to provide health services through the community, why it's important to adhere to a budget, and why operations are important. I honestly, at work, I work for a medical provider, like I mentioned earlier. My role is really to shave cost. I believe that I have a strong suit and could take a look at financials and potentially understand where money could be reallocated to other means. It's very important to me, the healthcare system. It is very important to me that we continue to provide services and find new service lines through the community where we can not only educate, but also offer new services for individuals that could potentially be underserved.
So I have a few committees that I would be interested in. One would be the County Operations Committee. I know that the insurance, which is something that I have a lot of experience in, is within that committee, and the benefits portion as well as the work comp. So as far as the benefits portion goes, that could be something that we use to help retain employees. We see a lot of times with small businesses right now that they're having trouble attracting and retaining employees. So that's something that I think is very important. Also, the work comp is self-insured, which sometimes self-insured by the county, which can create a lot of extra administrative work and can slow down that time that people could be using towards other things within the operations. So that's something that I definitely have my eyes on. I actually have a background in construction growing up, so I'd love to be a part of the infrastructure committees as well and overseeing some of the construction projects that they have going on throughout the county. And then as well as the Finance and Legislative Committee, of course, I have an education in finance, and I'm very proud that I was able to graduate college with debt-free. I think that's important to say that I actually did learn something while I was there. So those are the committees that I was looking towards.
Thank you. So the only 2 committees I haven't served on are Land Use and Ways and Means. So I would probably look to gather some more information on those 2 committees because really the bulk and the heavy load of the work that is done is in committees. So if you haven't had an opportunity to use some of the committee meetings, that's where a lot of the questions are asked and that's where a lot of the work is done. So I recommend to go back and watch some of those videos. Okay. To watch some of those videos because that's where a lot of the questions are asked. I enjoy the operations committee. It's probably the most challenging as far as working through the different aspects of that committee. We are self-insured. My vice chair and I just went through a deep dive with Owens companies. We met for about 8 hours with them, trying to make sure that we're providing the best health insurance that we can to our employees while keeping our costs and the employees' costs at something affordable, because as you know, insurance is not getting cheaper, it's just getting more expensive. I enjoy a lot of the health committee. I like to retain my position on the health committee and advocate for seniors. I felt once we voted to close Edington Oaks that we couldn't just turn our backs on the seniors of Peoria County. So I serve on Peoria County Triad as the health committee representative. And again, with other healthcare issues, as far as seniors go, I'm very passionate about that. So I would like to retain those.
Goes down to Nate. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel that I probably should be on the budget and finance committee because that's what I deal with all day, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's my biggest interest. Operations, certainly how the county operates, and lending some experience there, because obviously I operate a business every day and are faced with just the different issues that come up with a seasonal business, especially. I like the infrastructure committee as well, making sure that all of our crumbling buildings and whatnot are kept up to date. We're investing in the infrastructure of the county assets. Health and safety is of interest to me too. The county tends to, when you think about health, they think about the health department, but they also have violence and poverty under that. And so I have a special interest in improving, working with the city of Peoria to improve the overall health of the county. And I'm not sure which one it is on. It's the PCAPS, it's the dog catcher. I have a dog and I have a cat. And so I'm very interested in that aspect of the county oversight.
Okay, the next question will be answered first by Sally Owens. What specifically qualifies you to hold a position on the Peoria County Board? What education or experiences have you had that prepared you for this job?
Well, I'll share with you that I think I'm in the right place at the right time. My education, as I mentioned before, I have my undergraduate in business and accounting, absolutely education that is applied to the county board. My master's is in business and healthcare, again, vital to what's going on at the county board, but my experience, I think, is where I really bring the most value. In working with small businesses, I've had to learn to budget. And you know, there's really only 2 ways to make money. Raise more money, or sell more, or spend less. That's it. And we've really been raising our taxes way too much. And we need to learn a little bit about spending less or reallocating what we have. And I am doing that constantly with small businesses, and certainly my experience with OSF. They have a great history of reallocating resources to build our community, to serve our community, and to embrace technology and innovation. And that's something that we're really just starting to do in the county board. Certainly, they're doing it out at the county jail. They're starting to do some innovation there, and we need to further that. We need to support it and make sure they have the funds that they need to get that done.
I will say that I lean towards my experience on this. Educationally, I've taken a number of courses, but have not actually achieved a degree. The reason for that is you know, in my opinion, the education system wants you to choose at a very young age. And until you actually know what you want to do, I would lean towards experience matters. I have worked at a number of jobs. I've worked many jobs at the same time. I've worked in operations. I have overseen as many as 140 employees at one time. I am financially responsible for several budgets, some that are over $1 million. And I think that experience gives me a little bit of leverage here to understand some of the work that's being completed by the county. I continue my education at this point in time. I'm actually in school right now. Again, though, I have not identified where I want to go with that. My opinion right now is that I would probably go for a healthcare administration, but at this time, it's all about educating myself. I believe that my experience, though, gives me the opportunity to provide and lend advice where it's needed most, and that's financially for the county.
Can you repeat the question so I have a clear?
Yes. What specifically qualifies you to hold a position on the Peoria County Board? What education or experiences have you had that prepared you for this job?
Okay, so I'll start with education. I went to ISU and graduated with a finance and risk management insurance degree with a focus on business analytics and information systems. So within that, I was able to be a part of a lot of projects within the school that were high-level projects that created innovation for the community and businesses within the community. I'm going to move on to my experiences. I work as an insurance agent, but one of my core values is connection. And with connection, I'm always reaching out to people, so that takes a bit of communication, and communication skills leads to organization, and organization then leads to efficiency. So within the county, I think that I can help create a communicative culture and increase efficiency in that way.
Well, I've been on the board for 4 years, and like I said before, I've served on multiple committees, so I feel I have a good understanding of how the government works, and I still have a lot to learn, and I'm willing to learn, and I think that's important, is being willing to learn, being willing to listen, and I'm willing to listen, to be empathetic, to kind of put yourself in the other people's shoes, whether it's our employees or the constituents, and see these as through their eyes as well. My job as a forensic scientist for 26 years has given me the ability to make fact-based, unbiased decisions. That's what I do for every day, is make those decisions. And I apply the same mentality to the decisions that I make on the board. I've also, well, I was talking to Mr. Stella earlier. When I first got out of college, I have a science degree, but I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I called on Mr. Stella when he was Mr. Insurance agent. And that gave me a lot of problem solving skills, because I would show up on a Monday morning, we would have 30 reservations and 2 cars on the lot. So how do you navigate that? And I never, in my wildest dreams, that I think a scientist and working for a rental car company would take away so much, but I took away a lot of life experience from that. And I use that all the time. I think it's helped me think on my feet. I don't make rash decisions. I stew on decisions to actually my detriment. I've lost a lot of sleep, but that's why I did. Thank you.
Well, we'll get Scott today.
Thank you. So the question said, what specifically qualifies me? And my first answer to that is I just happen to live in District 8. So that's what qualifies me to run for the county board. But beyond that, my computer science degree in math, math is all about problem solving, I tell my kids, and you have to do the problems with a paper and pencil in order to solve them. You can't study math by reading the book. And so I have a big bent on actually problem solving. I'm also, anyone who knows me will tell you that I'm not a big talker. I'm more of a listener. So I'll listen, typically without judgment, and then I'll draw a conclusion from that. And just my wealth of business experience that I bring from running a small business that has about 100 employees. Every day there's an issue that comes up. And more importantly for the constituents is, in my business, I strive to make it easy to do business with. And I want to bring that same mentality to the county board. And if you've ever dealt with county government, sometimes it's not very easy to do business with the county. And I experienced that with my zone. I applied for a special use. So I just want to bring the customer's perspective to the county board and always look at it through the lens of the customer.
Thank you. Currently, I serve on 2 other boards. I sit at a bank board as a board of director, and I sit on the YMCA board of directors. So I have board experience. We go into committees all the time to various issues with the bank. It's, of course, more financial. My skill set as far as the community, I've always worked in the Peoria community, once again, behind the scenes for the underserved and the disadvantaged population. Currently, and I wear many hats right now. As I said, I'm a small business owner, and I also currently work as a community outreach director for a politician now. So I see a lot of things that go on behind the scenes, and I know where the collaborations can take place to build better experiences for our community as a whole, not just District 8, but as a whole. So I think sometimes you get siloed into just one area, but you have to look at the community as a whole, because when District 8 wins, District 9, District 10, we all can win if we just work together. So my experience and skills are more so that if we work together as a community member and not just focus on where we live, it makes the community a better place.
Okay, next question, we'll start with Danny Phelan. And several of you have asked this, so using one word set of wording. The board recently voted to place a referendum on the November ballot, allowing voters to decide to eliminate the internal office of county auditor. Do you agree with this decision? Explain.
How lucky of me. I've answered this question many times, actually, as I've pursued my candidacy. And the way that I will continue to answer this question is that there's been a lot of executive sessions on this. There's a lot of information that is unavailable to everyone in public, myself included. Because of that, I think it would be foolish for me to side one way or another. However, I will tell you that I do believe there was a very good example provided at one of the county board meetings on the flow of traffic through that position and how technology has changed. Based off of that information, I would be willing to educate myself further. But it is my opinion today that again, it would be foolish for me to answer yes or no or stand one way or another without all the facts at hand.
This is a good question, and I think that so why do we have the auditor? I think the reason why is we need that separation of powers between the board and the rest of the county operations. So with that being said, those voters that are going to be voting on this referendum, they need to be taking as much time looking at the vote this November for this referendum as they do for the auditor position when they vote for the auditor position. So I think as long as those two things are, connected together, then I don't see why we can't have an auditor, personally.
I guess opposed to everybody else, I actually have a vote. I voted on this referendum. I was one of the 2 dissenting votes on it. It's not that I don't feel that these citizens should have a right to vote on it, because I do. I think as much input we get from our citizens, the better it is. I just felt that we voted on this referendum 4 years prior to it won, and we still had an auditor, and the timing didn't seem right to me because our current auditor still has 2 years left to their term. So it wasn't the right time for me. I'm open to referendums and allowing the public to vote on them. It just wasn't the right time for this one.
Thank you. Nate?
Well, I think with the referendum, we have to keep in mind that the referendum is not, it's asking about the office and not Auditor Thomas. So it's not a performance evaluation of Auditor Thomas. It's whether the county actually needs an auditor. And when this issue first came up, I imagined the county way back when you could probably keep the amount of bills in a cigar box for how many bills they got. And the statute calls for that the auditor has to review every bill is what her duties. If you go out to her website and see that she's supposed to look at every bill. And I just think that the county and technology has grown to make the office somewhat obsolete. And so with an office that once cost the county well over $200,000, now next year's budget, it's like $115,000. I think that auditor or that CFO McCord and that County Administrator Sorrell have things well in hand, and that I would support the elimination of the auditor's office.
I always think this is a very interesting question. As me not being previous on the county board, I too, like you, are just a community member. So I only can read and watch and listen to what's available information. And I don't think that I have enough information to discern or make a decision on whether to keep or to eliminate. At this point, you know, like Phelan said, I think there are a lot of things that I may not know as a community member because I'm not privy to, because I am not part of the Peoria County Board yet. So I would, at this time, say that I don't have enough information to make an educated answer on whether that position should stay or go.
I think I'm going to stand alone here. The position needs to go, and I'll tell you why. The community our size does not require that position, first. Second, we have an outside auditing company that comes in totally unbiased, totally fresh eyes, that audits our financial statements, which, by the way, are of record value. They're getting award recognition for the quality of the financial tracking and reporting that we're doing. And that's not, I mean, that's of a national standard. So we're already operating at a very high level. We're already being audited by an outside audit agency. And that position, and again, it has absolutely nothing to do with the person who holds the position, but that position is not required for us to have. So we're paying for a position that we don't need to have. So my answer is we don't need the position. And we should be reallocating those dollars for positions that we desperately need for safety and healthcare. So my answer is we do not need that position. It's redundant.
Okay, this next question is for each district. So if you don't remember which district you live in, pay attention to this question. What are the 3 most important issues within your district, and what is your plan to address them? Be as specific as you can. We'll start us off.
Thank you. There's kind of 3 things that as I've been going around and speaking with constituents, that they seem to have a interest in changing about the county. So the first one is public safety. There's been some of the people that I've spoken with have been robbed at their car as they're, leaving a place of business or a community event, and those kind of things can't happen. So we've seen that the county jail's been struggling to find officers to apply. So we need to find a way to supply these officers. Now, back in 2020, there was a budget cut, 10% across all departments, and that tended to be a little bit higher for the county jail because of their large budget. And that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, and we discouraged Brian Asbell from continuing and finishing his office. Now, I think he was the perfect person for the job, but we have to encourage Chris Watkins and stand next to him and listen to him on what he has experience on to finish. Sorry, I guess I gotta stop here. Sorry.
So infrastructure is one thing that is important. Everybody talks about potholes, and there are 3 areas of county roads that are in the city. One of them is Sheridan, one in District 10, so it's Sheridan from Glen to Northmore. It's Willow from University to Allen, and then Glen Avenue, which is being constructed now. And then my old district, it's weird because it's hard for me to separate the two. It's like having 2 kids. I still like my old district and my new district because we got pushed north with the new census. So that's one is infrastructure. Safety. I worked with one of the constituent who was having problems, who lives on Sheridan Road, of cars driving too fast past his house. He almost got hit once, taking his trash out to the curb. So we did get a speed limit sign. I don't know if you saw it on Sheridan, that I worked with Public Works to get that up there. So that's the second one. Taxes is huge for any constituent, but especially in District 10. Keeping taxes low. I've never voted to raise a tax. We haven't changed the tax levy since I've been on the board, and it remains flat in the upcoming year. Number 3, public safety is absolutely is important. Working and making sure that the sheriff has everything that he needs to do his job, and the whole department.
Goes to Nate.
Thank you. So I think in my district, District 8, which is both a mix of agriculture and urban, and then there's also a lot of businesses in there. I think the biggest problem, you might say it's a problem, but the biggest opportunity is the city's talking about the establishment of a TIF district, which actually is on some of my property that just east of Route 6, and they're trying to attract a large employer who then will bring jobs to the Peoria area, which then spreads out the tax base. So that's one of the greatest things that I think I can work with, the opportunity that's specific to my district. I can also work in collaboration with the 2 city council members, because a lot of District 8, really there's only a small portion that the county oversees. Most of it's the city of Peoria. So I think there's great collaboration. I bring those skills to work with it. One of the 4 parts of my 4S strategy, which I'll get to if I have a chance, is stop and grow. We have to stop the population loss, and we have to grow both the. we have to grow businesses and increase the amount of people in Peoria County who pay taxes.
Thank you. The 3 that I would work on and focus on for District 8 is the infrastructure, taxes, and public safety would be my focus. Although the city does have most of the infrastructure of the road work. Orange Prairie, I live out off of Rachel Drive. So Orange Prairie Road, we pay a lot of taxes in that area. So to try to maneuver Orange Prairie Road and dive the potholes was a bit concerning. When you pay as much property taxes as you do, you expect a certain living condition in the area that you live in, which is why you move out there. So the city is currently repaving that. I was working with and talking to in my other job capacity about when we could get some reprievement for that area. So the city is repaving, and in 4 years, they're going to tear up and rebuild that road. That was just a collaboration and communication that I had and was able to talk to and discuss about that. The safety aspect is we have a lot of homeowners moving and relocating. We have some Florida birds that go south. And we have a lot of renters that come into these areas where you purchase homes and you want to live forever, but the renters don't have the same mentality as homeowners. So we have to be very mindful of how we structure our community and how we stay safe in our community. So, and also the next one is the taxes. Even if it's just a couple pennies shaved here and there, as a homeowner, you know, as a property owner, taxpayer, those pennies add up eventually. So I like to focus on that.
Thank you. Well, according to the 2023 proposed budget, our taxes are going up. So they are proposing a tax increase. So I would like very much to do what I can to prevent that from happening, but that's already in the budget right now. So right now we're at 0.84, I believe, is our percentage. And they're looking for another 2 points on that. So that we need to take into consideration. That's one of our big concerns in my district. We are really challenged in my district because we don't have just Peoria County or Peoria City. We also have our own village of Peoria Heights, which is a whole nother layer. They do take control of the zoning, so that's not impacted by Peoria County per se. A small area of my district is impacted from that, but just from the safety standpoint, I've already been working with Chris Watkins, our sheriff, and he understands the complexity of dealing with not only the Peoria County Sheriff's Department, not only the Peoria City Police Department, not only the Village of Peoria Heights Police Department, but we also have the Parks District and their safety issues. So we're working collaboratively already on that.
It's really hard for me to pick just 3 and narrow it down. There's a lot of opportunity in District 9 to, not even just District 9, but across the county to make improvements. If I did have to pick 3 today, I would easily put taxes at the top of the list. Nobody wants to pay more and receive the same services. So if taxes were to go up, what can we provide in addition to what you're already getting? And that's a really hard juggle in the county and through the community. Safety is huge for me. Obviously, working in public safety, I understand the need. A lot of our departments have either been defunded or struggle with staffing concerns. And how do we fix those? How do we get a better presence on the streets to ensure safe areas? Lastly, I would say economic development. If we can develop the area and harbor a safe area with low taxes, we're going to bring more people in. And more people means more revenue. But to do that, we have to have a safe area. We have to harbor an environment that allows business owners to come in or people to come in for education and decide to stay in this area.
Okay, let's try a different tack altogether here. Peoria County currently has solar farms and individual properties with solar panels, but no wind farms at this time. The board has approved testing and data collection in Millbrook, Princeville, and Brimfield townships, which could eventually lead to the development of the county's first wind farm. Do you believe the county should encourage the development of wind turbines and wind farms? And explain. And we start with Rob.
100% yes, I think we should. We've been an advocate for solar because solar works well for our county. We were told years ago that Peoria County was not good topographically for wind farms. But now they're starting to change their tune a little bit, and that's why we're doing this study to see if Peoria County would be suitable for wind farms. I think it's important for us to lower our emissions, to increase sustainable energy. I think it's definitely what we need to do for our future and the future of our kids. And it's something that we have to be active about. We're hoping, it looks like the new healthcare facility that's going to be replace the health department. We're hoping to have solar panels on the roof of that facility as well.
So on the topic of wind turbines, let me say that I support clean energy and green energy. I want to go on record as saying that. As far as wind turbines specifically, I would say I generally support them, and I'll tell you why. Because I generally support hog farms too, but as long as they're 20 miles away from me, that's how I support them. So without living next to a wind turbine farm, I can't really say at this point whether I support them or not. It's going to take some talking to people who live underneath a wind farm and who perhaps are picking up all the dead birds and whatnot to see whether that fits with Peoria County. But I really like the green energy aspect of it. And when they go to put in a wind farm, the areas that they do are researched extensively. They look for the habitat. They look for eagles, they look for a bunch of things. So I know it's going to be well researched. I'm just not so sure I want one built next to me yet.
I do support wind farms and solar panels, anything that we can do to lower costs, have better emissions, lower just green energy. It will help the environment, it will help our community. In addition to just helping the environment, getting a wind farm here, that's employment. We have to hire, licensed and qualified installers to do this. So now that brings a job opportunity. So anything that we can do to grow economically and we can grow green helps tremendously. So I do support the wind farms and solar panels.
Thank you. Well, I have to agree with Mr. Hoerr because I don't know enough about exactly the downfall of a wind farm being right next to me. I'd like to know that. They're going to do research, as Rob said, so I'm excited to see what the research tells us. But as far as clean energy goes, I'm all for it. I actually got a bid earlier this year to add solar panels to my property. In my district, I'm excited to say that we have one of our businesses that is a solar installation company. So I'm excited to have a new technology company like that in my district. And also, I don't know how many of you are shopping with Owens, but they took their empty lot next to their market, the market on War Memorial, which is in my district, and we have a solar farm there. So you can put a solar farm in many places, and we have a lot of empty areas that we could be repurposing them for solar farms. So I commend anyone that's going down that clean energy route. We need to do more of it. As for the wind farms, I look forward to seeing the research and evaluating and asking some good in-depth questions to see if it's the right answer for Peoria County.
As Sally said, it's super exciting that we actually have some of this technology in our district. I don't think all districts can speak to that, at our level anyways. I am a proponent for wind farms, green and clean solutions. As I mentioned previously, I became an environmentalist and spend a lot of time outdoors, so it's very important to me that we pursue other avenues to provide energy as we grow as a community or just as a world. I also would like to echo that location is extremely important. The choices that I intend to make on the board are with all information in front of me. I believe I stated that as well earlier today. So for me, it would be very important to see all the pieces before I could make a decision, but generally I'm in support of all clean and green energy.
So I agree to a certain extent. I believe that, of course, we do need cleaner energy, and I think now is a time where we need to take very serious consideration of what energy is doing. So with Illinois shutting down the coal plants, it's worth the investment now to spend money on solar energy, on wind energy. Now, of course, we need to do the research on that and make sure that we're putting it in the right places and in the right communities that aren't opposed to it. But we can very easily overdo it and spend too much money on that. So I think going forward, we need to have a plan in place to gradually work our way towards that. And we can't just go all at once, oh, here, let's build a massive farm, and now the county has to raise taxes again on our constituents. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, next one, yeah, we'll go down to Amanda. This is going to be our last question, and I'm actually going to, which I'm sorry, because we have some really, really good questions here, and if you have a chance, you can ask them afterwards. I'm going to combine two that aren't exactly the same, and so you're free to answer them however you feel best. One of them is, how do you anticipate collaborating with other entities within Peoria County government? And the other is, how do you anticipate interacting with citizens in your district? So I'm going to give you some leeway on how you answer those two, because they're not exactly the same. Nathan?
Good. Leeway is good. So collaboration with entities in my district, other governmental entities, I'm assuming. So I'm in District 4 and District 5 for the city of Peoria. So Dennis Sayer and Andre, yes. They will, so I can work with them. I think I can work with anybody because, again, I'm a great listener. And by letting people know that I'm fairly easily accessible, I essentially live on Route 91 and I live where I work, because essentially I live in the nursery. And so it's not going to be real hard to find me because I essentially live and breathe right there on Route 91, just south of OSF. So I'm available by email. I love talking eyeball to eyeballs, what I tell my employees. I like text messaging. I think I'm going to be available. I don't want to text messages at midnight, though, unless it's an emergency. So I think I can work with whatever entity there is by listening, empathetic listening, and then reserving judgment, and then coming to a logical conclusion with government, and then with people. I deal with people day in and day out, whether it's a customer or employee. So I think I'm well suited for that.
Working with entities is no problem. Currently, I sit on a lot of boards and I go into a lot of meetings. So some of these people that are in my district, the entities, I work with them now already behind the scenes on other things. So I have working relationships already established. I'm pretty easy to get along with as far as the constituents. I'm like open door policy. You can call anytime. I'm a late night person, but I also get up very early. So I may send out an email at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't expect you to read it till you wake up, but I also may send out one at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm a person who, I keep a notebook by the side of my bed. Sometimes good ideas come and I have to get them out then. But I've always worked late nights and I've juggled multiple things. So I have to be flexible enough to know that people don't operate on a straight time. Some people work first shift, third shift, second shift, and you have to be available for their needs. So I have no problem with collaborating, which is what I do currently, and which is what I have always done in every position that I've had.
Thank you. I've spent most of my working career, I've got 35 years experience in collaborating. When you're working with a small business, you're trying to move it along and trying to grow it, and people come with all sorts of different agendas. And you have to understand and respect where everybody is coming from and what their agendas are and how do you move forward together. So I have spent virtually 33 years collaborating. My time at OSF was a much larger company, and that's a different kind of collaboration. You're working with large organizations, you're working with individual departments, but as still you're dealing with people who have an agenda and who have a passion, and you need to respect it and you need to work together to try and move forward. I've already been working with our Parks Department and our Sheriff's Department on some of the safety issues that we have. It's complicated. We have to take into account all of the different municipalities and all of the different agendas and budgets and restrictions they have. But once you get together and you bring people together, you can collaborate and find a solution, and we're already doing that in many areas. With regard to supporting and communicating with my constituents and people within the district, we have email and we have cell phones and open door policy. Happy to talk to anyone who has an issue.
This is a really good question. So I think this is something that everyone up here is probably already doing to some degree. Specifically right now through our candidacy, every single one of us, I would say, is meeting new people, new faces every single day. And that's very exciting to me, to be able to talk with people in the community, also outside of the community, people across the county district lines, and just meet and hear what is going on in their lives, what's affecting them, what could be better. That is so valuable, regardless of who ends up in these seats, to be able to share those stories. There's a lot of people in the area that just need an advocate. They don't know who to talk to. So networking is something that I have become very good at. At one time it was foreign to me, but because of my position, I deal with customers, I deal with vendors, I deal with employees from all walks of life. And so I do that on a daily basis and never stop. As far as dealing with county entities, again, that's something that the board does on a regular basis. And I don't see that being any different or harder or more challenging than dealing with constituents.
So my two core values are connection and service. So in the connection portion, I'm always reaching out to people, whether they like it or not sometimes. But with connection, you have to be a good listener. And so I'm probably a better listener than I am a speaker. And so if you talk to me and if somebody has an issue, I write it down right away and it's on my agenda. And so that's something kind of specific to me. I think service is very important. I think my wife would tell you I do too much, but I also volunteer for the Midwest Food Bank. I am pretty active in Peoria Chamber of Commerce. And so these areas in our community need our help, and I'm willing to listen, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to help others, and those are my two core values.
Collaboration is essential for an organization. It allows you to be less duplication of services, to become more efficient. The county, just things that I've worked on personally has been like the Center for Prevention of Abuse. We've collaborated to help bring more services to seniors and their families. I collaborated with the city on the 2020 census to make sure that all of our undercounted tracts were being counted and everyone was represented. I think one of the biggest collaborations going on right now is with Mayor Ali, and for the racial injustice and inequality that she's put together. And she's brought together 140 or more community members that are all collaborating, trying to make not just the city, but the county a better place and more equitable for everyone.
Okay, let's see, there's a minute and a half, I believe, that we have announced for closing statements, and Kanika will give the first closing statement.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone again for taking their time to come out and listen to us, try to tell you about what we plan to do and what we would like to do and how we would like to help. I would like for you to take away, if nothing else about me, I have been here for the community. I am in the community, and I will continue to work in the community regardless of if I win this seat or not. My heart is in Peoria. I'm always focused on making Peoria a better place as a whole, but I hope that you would vote for me on the election day. Matter of fact, vote early. Early election is coming up, vote early. And I look forward to serving District 8, but I will continue to serve the Peoria city regardless. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Again, thank you to the league, and thank you to everybody that came out today. Again, I'm Sally Owens. I'm asking for your vote to represent Peoria Heights and surrounding areas of District 9 in the Peoria County Board. I'm the most qualified. As my opponent said earlier, experience matters. I've got the experience. I got my master's degree as I was working as a single mother. So I understand what it takes to work hard, juggle a lot of different schedules, raise a family, make those choices, as well as work and volunteer. I've sat on many boards. I understand how to balance a budget. I understand how to work together with people to get a common solution. And sometimes it's not having the answers. It's asking the right questions. And I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot of projects succeed and some fail. And I have a lot of experience in asking the right questions. And I'd like to serve the Peoria County as a board member.
Again, thank you everyone for coming out today. Thank you for the league for hosting us. Wonderful event, good turnout. I do appreciate all the questions today. However, it sounded like there were some that weren't able to get answered. So if any of you do have direct questions for me that you didn't get asked today, please feel free to reach out. I would love to chat with you more, and I'll be sticking around for a couple minutes after today. I would appreciate everyone's vote for District 9 to represent District 9 on the Peoria County Board. I feel that I am an advocate, and I will tell you that's something that I do for my day job. I advocate for people that can't speak, and I take that very, very personable. There's a number of members through the community that just don't know how to have a voice, and that's what I intend to do, is work with the community to make sure that they know they can be heard. My district covers a wonderful sliver of from the city of Peoria, the East Bluff, and Peoria Heights as well, and I intend to advocate for those individuals.
Also want to thank everyone for coming, and the volunteers and the moderator as well. You did a fantastic job. I guess I would appreciate a vote this November. We're focused on public safety and the safety of our children. We're focused on financial stability. The economy right now is starting to turn downward, and we need to make sure we have a financial solution for that. We also need to make sure our small businesses are being supported within the community. That's what brings people to Peoria, is our small business. And then, of course, we also got to help the individuals that are struggling with their energy costs on that renewable energy as well. So we got to get creative here and excuse me, and find ways to help the people in our community. So I would appreciate a vote on November 8th. Thank you.
Thank you to the league for putting this together, and everybody for showing up on a beautiful Saturday. I just want to take a quick second. I needed to just to address a comment that Ms. Owens had stated about the budget. And while I said that the tax levy was staying flat, and she had stated it is going up, it is true, it is going up, but it's not by the county board's hand. There was a state statute that was passed that said that if the Veterans Affairs Office wants to raise pennies to support their office, they can, and the county board has to abide by that. We can't say no, we can't vote it down, we have to give them that budget. So the Veterans Affairs Office did ask for a raise in their budget. The only thing that we can do to not pass that along would be to cover that with general fund balance. So I would support that, just so that the residents of Peoria County aren't seeing the tax increase. So that in the budget as presented, there does show a little bit of a levy increase because of that, but it's not at the board's hands. I would never support a tax increase. But I do thank you for coming out today. I have enjoyed the last 4 years serving the constituents of District 10 and all of Peoria County. I look forward, I have a whole lot more to give. I feel like I have my feet on the ground. I'm passionate about a lot of the different issues that have been presented today and the different issues that the county board handles. And I look forward to serving you another 4 years, and I'm asking for your vote on the 8th. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and all of those of you who came out today. And I also want to thank the library. The library is in District 8, so I feel very at home here. In fact, as an aside, I could thank my parents. My mom used to take me to the McClure Library to get a stack of books. And so I still use this library. I get holds. I don't buy a lot of books on Amazon. I use the library. So I'm a constituent of the library. So I just wanted to put that plug out there for the library. You know, change is coming to Peoria County with all these people not running for re-election, and we've got new candidates here. We've got Chairman Rand, who's actually not running, so we're going to have new leadership regardless. I'm not vying for chairmanship, obviously, because I want to get my feet wet with the county board. But I think I bring vision, I bring a listening ear, I bring a desire to understand, a spirit of collaboration and leadership. I can bring that to the county board. I have a 4S strategy. It's 4S is stop and grow, stop population loss, grow the businesses coming in. S, the next S is safety, make sure that we're funding the jail and funding the sheriff. And then I want to streamline county services. Again, make it easy, enjoyable, and excellent, like I do in my business, to do business with the county. And then lastly, I think the last S is stewardship. I think I can be a good steward of the taxpayers' dollars and make sure that they're being spent in the right place. So if you want business as usual, no change, let's just keep it steady Eddie, I'm not your guy. But if you want to see some change on the county board, a fresh perspective, then I am your person, and I would appreciate your vote on November 8th or for early voting, which starts September 29th. So thank you.
Okay. You're taking some of my words away. That's okay.
Steal your thunder.
First of all, I want to thank all of our candidates for coming. Let's go ahead and give them a hand. We appreciate your coming out and participating this morning. I'd also like to thank all of you who are attending in person and those of you who are watching our streaming version online. And if you have friends who want to know what happened, it will be on our YouTube channel, and on Facebook, so you can find this live stream. You can find it at a later date. We also want to thank the North Branch Library for this wonderful facility. We've always enjoyed coming out here. As Nate said, early voting starts September 29th, and there are schedules out on the table. Do those have the locations too? Okay, so I don't have that yet, the locations for early voting, but it does start on September 29th. Starting, I believe, tomorrow, you'll be able to get more information from the Illinois, the League of Women Voters of Illinois has the Illinois Voter Guide at www.illinoisvoterguide.org, and you can get information about all of the elections in the state. I believe it's supposed to be up tomorrow. So thank you all very much for coming. Did you have anything to add, Connie?
Just thank you all.
Oh, I have one other thing to say. If you are not currently a member of the League of Women Voters, please consider joining. We are open to anybody. We have, in fact, our current president happens to be a man. So we're open to anyone over the age of 16. Again, thank you for coming. And thanks to all the helpers who have helped us today. And I'm sorry we didn't get to all the questions, because there were still some pretty good questions left, but we ran out of time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, candidates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure to vote for your favorite county flag
Thank you.
too.
You are aware
Had an opportunity.
that Peoria County filed the referendum for auditor 4 days late, 4 days after it was supposed to be filed.